Welcome to a new Lead with Soft Skills podcast with me, your host and coach, JP Warren. Today, this podcast is first off all to give you the necessary tools and skill sets for you not just to navigate kind of your personal and professional life, but also help you level up during your career growth, okay? And we cover a lot of things from communication skills to imposter syndrome to mindset to staying motivated in tough times, tough seasons like Q4 it is right now. And one of the things we talk about is fear. And I think what we're going to be talking about today is kind of a fear-based thing that's holding a lot of leaders back and a lot of teams from growing. And that is the inability to have difficult conversations or crucial conversations. Why do we not have difficult conversations? The number one reason primarily is fear. Fear is holding us back from engaging with people, having those conversations, not just having those conversations, but having people grow from those conversations, which is the end goal of these difficult conversations. So today, it's all about how to master your difficult conversations, whether it's at work or whether at the house or whether with your friends. It doesn't matter, okay? There's ways to approach this. We just had a crew club mastermind roundtable event discussing this exact topic, which is pretty much kind of what spurred this motivation to talk about this today, all right? So before we get into it, let's kind of set the stage a little bit right now and kind of reflect on where in our lives are some opportunities to have these crucial conversations. And again, these conversations don't have to be these big blowout things that hold a lot of anxiety, these big life-changing shifts. They can literally start from small, minor things that you see that you want to correct and actually work your way up to these larger areas of behavior that you're looking to improve. So again, with these crucial conversations, they don't have to be this big monumental mountain of a conversation to have. Start small. Start with little things that kind of that you can see some improvement, a little bug in you, whether it's how your spouse loads the dishwasher or whether it's what your child is doing and you kind of have a disagreement and want to provide some more guidance. So these crucial conversations, or whether it's to your team that maybe they aren't kind of living up and fulfilling their side of their roles and responsibilities when it's contributing to the team project. So how do you have these conversations is what we're going to talk about today. And again, starting small is a great way to practice. Just like all these skill sets we discuss on Lead with Soft Skills, they're skill sets, meaning they can be learned, practiced, and mastered, okay? And I see more teams thriving with the ability to have these crucial conversations than teams that don't. Again, these podcasts are 15 minutes under to give you the quick insight on how to improve your professional and personal skill sets. So let's dive into real quick on what crucial conversations are, what these difficult conversations are. Usually difficult conversations are from what we believe is a conversation that stem from high stake, and with this, it's a lot of emotion attached to this. And what causes all this stuff? Often anxiety gets wrapped up in this. So before having these crucial conversations, a lot of people hold themselves back from having it, hoping that the behavior will fix itself. However, that necessarily is not true. If you don't identify the behavior and fix the behavior, it can only actually grow worse and actually cause a lot more destruction to your team or to the employee itself. During one of the conversations we had around the table, someone was so nervous to have a conversation with one of their employees, one of their teammates. They were so nervous about it, so anxious about it, to the point where they didn't have a conversation. And because they didn't have a conversation, that behavior kept on getting worse and worse and worse. Finally, people were called in, they had the conversation, and it kind of was one of those things where that person kind of had a fork in the road. It got so bad, either they were going to be let go, fired from their current role, or they had an opportunity to grow through these conversations. So again, you're only letting your team behind if you aren't engaged in these conversations. You're letting that person down that could use this opportunity for growth because they might not know that whatever action or behavior, they might not know that needs improvement. So again, a lot of anxiety comes with this. And again, that holds people back from having these conversations, okay? And we talked about where you should have these. These could be work, home, with friends. Now, I say even try this, practice this with a friend, practice with your spouse, practice having these structured conversations because it will result in a lot more benefit than it will be harmful if you approach it the right way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. Why you should have these conversations. Number one, it builds trust with your team. Okay. If you're there and you're willing to have these difficult conversations, put yourself in a scenario where you want to sit in front of your teammate to have these conversations. That's going to show them that you care about them. That's going to show that you're actually taking time out and you want to see them improve. All right. That just builds trust. And throughout trust and organization and a team, that develops other leaders. You're allowed to grow as a team and actually achieve your goals a lot easier because everyone's in step. People trust each other, and they know that you, as a leader, as a team leader, or even as a friend, is there for their benefit and growth. All right. And again, what else does it do? It prevents escalation. Usually a lot of times you see people and I talked about this before, whenever they do see an action or behavior that does need some sort of conversation about it, or maybe some sort of guidance around that, people don't, whenever they notice the behavior, there's usually a long pause or a long time frame before they have the conversation. And by that time, from whenever if you see something, say something. Whenever the gap between from when they saw something to when they have the conversation, by then it's probably reached out to a lot of different people. It's kind of a cancer within the organization because it spreads. Poor behavior spreads. Poor attitude spreads. The quicker you nip it in the bud, the more effective and efficient your team will be. All right. And what else does it do? It promotes growth. I had a conversation with one person that at one event who, long story short, it was kind of one of those things where this person at the table was kind of over talking people. They were kind of talking to people, over talking to people, kind of putting people down, and kind of putting people kind of in their place. And this is one of those things that you could respond in two ways. Number one, you could exclude them from the table, ever coming back again. Or number two, you could use this as a growth opportunity. Maybe aligning some sort of like, hey, next time at the table, why don't you try this? Why don't you withhold from this and use this as active listening versus solicitation or selling? Long story short, because the conversation was had, the next event that was had, they were able to secure so many more meetings and so many more follow-ups just because they had that conversation. It changed how they behaved and how they engaged at the table. So again, let's talk about now how to plan for your difficult conversation that you will have. And the only reason it's difficult is because it's up here. It's in your mind. You're thinking that it's going to be difficult. You're thinking that I might upset this person. They might not like me after this. It's going to be awkward team dynamics. That's not necessarily true if you plan it the right way. So how do we plan a proper and effective crucial conversation or difficult conversation? All right. There's 5 steps when planning this. And we had this conversation around the table, probably about 25 different leaders, industry leaders, kind of management, vice presidents, senior level, and all that stuff. There was very different methods about having these crucial conversations, difficult conversations. Some people said leave your emotion out of it. Sorry about that. That's the at-home studio, so you're dealing with some live weed whacking right now. So a lot of people, whenever they approach these conversations, they're thinking, okay, well, some advice was leave your emotions out of it. Some advice was have your emotions involved in it because that shows you care. At the end of the day, you're going to approach this how you want to approach this, but there are key things for you to do before and during your conversations with people. And again, this isn't about getting the right formula down correctly. It's about planning and delivering it effectively. Okay. Again, we're all human. We're all going to have our own different ways to deliver these conversations and have these conversations. Every relationship is different, but the first thing that it starts with is planning and preparing the conversation. All right. So step 1 is plan. All right. Don't walk into the conversation. There you go. Don't walk into the conversation cold. Don't walk into the conversation thinking you're going to wing it. The more you plan, the more you emphasize, kind of go through what you really want to talk about. It's going to be much more effective. All right. And during this planning stage, let me get a different color. I don't think green really shows up. Let me get blue. So during this planning stage, all right, so what do you have to do during this planning stage? Number 1, what is the goal? What is the goal of you having this conversation? Is it to improve a performance issue? Is it to correct an attitude? Can you even see that? You can't even see that. Is it correct an attitude? Is it to fix maybe a process that this person is doing incorrectly? What is the goal of having this conversation? And again, whether you're talking about someone at work, a teammate, or your spouse, what is the goal? Is your goal to come in there and argue to kind of show that you're more powerful than they are and that your word should be taken over theirs? Probably not. The goal is probably to have more of a cohesive understanding, to have that other person absorb and learn so they can be a better contributor to the team, to the relationship, whatever it looks like. So number 1, what is the goal? Okay. Number 2, what facts are you seeing? All right. Don't get lost in the emotional side of things. What are the facts that you want to bring up to the person that you want to talk about at hand? Or is, whether it's at the house, or is the silverware facing up when it should be facing down in the dishwasher? Or is it at work? Is this person late X number of times? Or are they having this type of behavior outside of the meetings? Okay. Gather your facts, gather your goals. Okay. All right. Another thing that you can do to prepare for and plan for this is try to walk through the conversation in your mind. Try to anticipate their reaction. Okay. If you can anticipate their reaction, just like a job interview, just like a presentation, if you can anticipate reactions, it's going to help you a lot more planning for that conversation, navigating through those sticky points, okay? The second thing you should do whenever you are having these difficult conversations is select your environment, okay? Get your environment neutral, get your environment kind of calm. Don't have it a chaotic place. Don't have it in a place that's public where the person might be caught off guard and act defensive. A lot of times when you have these crucial conversations, when you have these difficult conversations, you're really battling ego. Okay, people will be defensive. They will respond with a defense mechanism. So again, create a calm, safe space for you to start communicating, start having these engaging dialogues. Because at the end of the day, if you're a leader, if you're a spouse, whatever that is, your goal for this is not to have the other person think that they're wrong and you're right, all right, or anything like that. The goal here is to have that person grow as an individual, have that person grow as a teammate, okay? So again, pick your environment, set it up, okay? Now, when you are planning this and you are trying to growth-focused language, okay? It's interesting. Around this mastermind roundtable, people were talking about how to have these conversations. And as a leader, a lot of the times, before, early in my studies of leadership and in my career path, it was always like, okay, what did this person do incorrectly? What did you do wrong here? And what can you fix? Growth-focused language, however, takes the blame, takes the responsibility off the person you're talking to and puts it on yourself as a leader who wants to contribute to the team and grow their team. So stay away from "you did this." All right? Use "I." Where can I be a better service? Where did I not communicate effectively the goals and visions and direction we're moving as a team? What can I do better as a manager to ensure that you are in line with kind of what the direction of the company is going? So utilizing "I" and getting rid of "you, because that puts people in a very defensive mechanism. So use "I." What can I do to improve? Because at the end of the day, you're not only trying to improve the teammates around you or the people in your space, but you're also trying to improve yourself as a leader, right? So again, what can I do to improve? And be curious about that, okay? All right. So you start getting dialed in, you start having this conversation, okay? And again, stay in control of the conversation, stay attached to your emotions, try not to let them kind of overpower you. If they start reacting some way, be in control, okay? So another thing here you can do is be goal focused. Again, we talk about having goals up here. Remembering that goal throughout the conversation, going back to that goal, having that goal kind of act as a true north on the direction of the conversation you're having, not getting lost in the weeds, not getting off on tangents, but staying true to that goal. What do we want to achieve as a team? What do we want to achieve as a group of individuals? Where do I want to see you grow as a teammate? Okay, let's focus on goals, okay, versus what they're doing wrong or incorrect or anything like that. Use this as an opportunity to grow. All right. So you planned it, you thought through it, you're driving to work, it's very nervous, you're thinking about what to do, you're thinking about the goals. What are the facts you can bring up in case they start kind of being defensive, or in case their ego starts getting in the way? All right. What reactions can you navigate around? Right. Boom. What environment's safe? Okay. What environment's a place that allows for these effective conversations to happen? Okay. Growth-focused language. What can I do to help you? Where am I failing as a leader or as a manager to give you the necessary, whether it's guidance, steps, or whatever that is? Okay. And the fourth thing is stay in line with your goals. Stay goal focused. Where can we go? What can we do as a team to get us to that next level? All right. What can we do so that attitude isn't being shared, that poor attitude isn't being shared with the group dynamic around you? All right. How can we grow together as a team? And the final thing is this, okay? Again, this is a conversation. Conversations go two ways, right? All right. They should go two ways. All right. This one, you should be practicing your active listening skills. Okay. And also validating. Okay. Whenever you are having these conversations, the person might not know that they were in the wrong. The person might not know the consequences of their action or their behavior or what the perception is to others around them. So again, whenever they are sharing kind of their insights and what's going on with them, why they made the decision, this is a great time to practice your active listening. I'm not saying you have to agree with them or anything like that, but validating how they feel and kind of what they're going through shows you as a leader that, number one, you're empathetic, but number two, that you want to bond with them, okay, and you care about them, all right? So validating whether it's their perception or maybe why they carried out this task a certain way or whatever that is, that's extremely important just for the relationship, okay? So that's kind of how to master your difficult conversations and why you should be having these conversations in the first place. And again, you should be having these conversations. Fear holds us back so much from whether it's taking a bet on ourselves, stepping out of our lane and kind of seizing the moment, or even taking action. Fear is going to hold you back from having these conversations. And the longer it takes from you to have from whenever you see something before you say something, the more damage could be done to your team. So again, however you want to approach this, with emotion, without emotion, stoic, cold, warm, whatever that looks like, the 5 things that we need to do: we got to plan it, we got to pick the environment, all right? We got to understand kind of use the growth-focused language, listen to the person, validate the person, okay? And stay goal-focused. All right. Don't have that fear. I guarantee you the fear base that you have, the anxiety that you have from having these conversations is, first off, it's going to be non-existent once you actually have the conversations. Okay. It's going to be like ripping a Band-Aid off, but also it's going to hold you back as a leader. It's going to hold your team back, and you don't know the potential consequences from not having these conversations. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. I'm actually going to be giving a Mastering Your Difficult Conversations seminar or speech, whatever you want to call it, at the upcoming SPE Gulf Coast on December 18th luncheon, which I'm excited about, right before Christmas, right before the holidays. So if you're enjoying this, please like, share, comment, leave us a review or anything like that. That keeps me motivated to continue to put this stuff out. And I want to thank everyone out there for their time. I went a little bit over today, but I hope this was beneficial to you. So thank you all for tuning in to Lead with Soft Skills podcast. If you're enjoying it, share, talk about it, and we appreciate it. We'll see you next time.